I'm now using a small block plane to apply a slight chamfer to all the edges that go inside the dados. In other words, on paper it was really nice to have a nice snug tight-fitting dado that mated very well with the other board. But when it comes to the reality that everything is warped, and if you buy it off the shelf not warped, by the time you put it together and it's acclimated to the humidity and temperature in your workshop, it will be warped. This is the only way I see doing it, is to have a super sloppy dado and to just fill in the void space with a heck of a lot of glue and slam some nails in there. Well, I think that's the hard part. It is rock solid. Even if I'm out of focus. I ran finishing nails up the sides, and then there was a few places where nails weren't, it was just too warped, so I had to use screws. I preferred using nails all around, because it would have been a little bit cleaner look. But in the end, that's the material I got to work with. So now I gotta, well, frankly, revisit some YouTube videos on building from here. I think it's basically going to be structural supports to add rigidity. I mean, it's pretty solid, and when you get a top in there, it'll be really solid, but still, should probably build a framework across the top, which obviously provides more stuff for the actual countertop to be anchored onto. And then we got to figure out some supports to anchor the face frame into, because it's really not going to be very effective at all to anchor the face frame into the end grain of the 3/4 inch plywood. This has been a cutting the wood and everything and running the dados and all that stuff. That was a piece of cake, and it was actually really enjoyable. Putting this thing together was an absolute nightmare, because every single sheet of plywood that I looked at the home goods store by me, Menards, was warped like heck. And I'm not sure if you can pick that up in the camera, but looking at this 3/4 inch sidewall here, that's warped. This I can't find straight sheet goods. And then the 1x material that I bought here for building the face frame, well, these boards were really straight when I picked them up out of the store, and now, like, this guy here is pretty much a hockey stick. Anytime, I don't get it, anytime I buy wood, it all warps to high heaven within days of getting into my house. Okay, so we're working on the face frame. I went ahead and cut the vertical stiles, and at this point in time I now need to cut the horizontal bits. The way I planned it out is I'm going to have, obviously, horizontal rails going along the top and along the bottom, and then I'm going to space to have a 6-inch deep drawer, so 6 inches from the top down. I'll have another set of horizontal rails, I think they're called. I think the long ones are stiles and the horizontal are rails. I'm learning this along with you guys. You just get to see all the mistakes I make. So the rails here, I cut these two already, but the whole measure twice, cut once thing failed me yet again because I made the wrong measurement. I want the stiles to stick out about a 1/4 inch or more like 1/2 inch off of the face. And that does two things. One, if I end up putting doors on the radial arm saw table here, I can sort of have a face frame on the radial arm saw stick out a 1/2 inch, and they'll butt up seamlessly. Additionally, the other benefit is that this plywood, naturally, as I explained earlier, is warped. So you can see, or I'm not sure if you can see because lighting is terrible down here, but yeah, you should be able to see that. It's sticking out some here, so the plywood is bowed out. So if I make these a 1/2 inch wider, or space them out a 1/2 inch away, that hides that defect. Which, yeah, there's no shortage of defects in this thing. Hopefully it'll still function at the end of the day. But, yeah, so I need to recut the horizontal rails here so that these are spaced out 1/2 inch away. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my technique of marking, which I have learned from other YouTubers, and it works out pretty well. Alright, so the distance I want is 14 3/16 of an inch, and I'm going to mark that with something that is far, far more accurate than a pencil. So, a pencil is a really wide mark. Even if you freshly sharpen it, after you make 1 or 2 marks, all of a sudden it's pretty wide. So as an example, that mark right there is a measurable width. That is well over a 64th of an inch. It's actually probably a 32nd of an inch. Yes, that's about a 32nd of an inch wide. So, for the purposes of this cabinet and all the imprecision and inaccuracies that are built into it with all the warped timber that I've dealt with, probably doesn't make a difference, but I'd like to show you this technique anyway. This is a little kiridashi that I made, Japanese style marking knife. So I made this out of a circular saw blade. I've got a bunch of them that are scrap. The teeth are, chipped out, dulled, etc. A bunch of them were given to me by the same guy that gave me the radial arm saw. They came with the saw and he didn't want them, and they're junk. So I cut one up with an angle grinder. The steel that they use for the body of it, not for the teeth are carbide, but for the body of circular saw blade saws, it's pretty good steel. Not the best in the West, but it holds an edge reasonably well, and it's also fairly rust proof, rust resistant. So this is a single bevel blade. I am a lefty, so the bevel is on the left side. So when I reference this against something that I'm holding on my right side, I get a perfect reference line there. So here I'm going to use tape measure, and we're going to find 14 3/16. Put my carpenter square underneath there, and I'm going to simply stick this blade right on the money at 14 3/16. Get rid of the tape measure. And now, holding my knife stuck in the wood, which obviously you can't do this with a pencil, I'm going to gently slide my carpenter square up against the blade. And now I'm going to, for the first couple passes, just gently apply downward pressure to score a line. And once I've struck that line a couple times, I have a deep groove so that I can score a perfect line there. If I were going to cut this by hand, I would go one step further, and on the waist side, so this is the side that I'm not keeping, this is the side that I'm keeping, I would take a chisel, come back about 1/8 of an inch, and chisel the scrap away. That creates what's called a knife wall, which is a terrific technique for doing hand cut joinery, which I've done in the past. A knife wall does a great job of helping to track your saw rather than just trying to hold it by hand against just a tiny, infinitesimally thick line. You actually have a channel, a groove that the saw blade kerf references into, and it keeps it nice and straight. So I thought I'd share that little tidbit